as we were looking at making a move and a different type of investment for ourselves, I've always been of the mind to get educated ahead of time. And that's just a practice, especially in the field that I've been in. And I thought there are a lot of different types of businesses that you can go after. And we looked at franchising because we like the concept of a model and a system. But what I found was there were quite a bit of books out there that were more designed to get you to buy into something. That's how it felt. And coincidentally, I was looking at different books to read, and I'd read a few, but I stumbled upon the Educated Franchisee, and what I noticed right away is that it was an educational style book, almost as if I were going to a class, because would learn a little bit each chapter, and then there were key concepts and reviews and things like that, which is very different from you're consuming material to then go buy something. And at least for me, I thought that after reading the book, and at the end of the book, there's a very small mention of if you're interested more in coaching, then reach out, which is very much different from a pitch to go and buy something. So we reached out, and the experience, at least that I've had with that whole process, very much matched the things that you started to learn, the key concepts in the book, kind of taking it a little step further. And so it aligned and matched a lot of what we learned in the book.
It's going great. It's been a lot of fun. There's definitely been the highs and the lows, but I think we were a little bit prepared for that. I think we were prepared for there to be highs and lows, not necessarily what they would be, but that's different for every business. You can't really predict that. But I think that something that we really, or at least I really felt prepared for, was just the ebbs and flows of all of the challenges that we were going to face. And we still remind each other about this all the time, is this is normal. You go through things with a business that it feels very drastic and it feels like a big disaster, but in reality you remember that every business owner has probably faced something very similar. And I think that that was something that Rick really also helped prepare us for, was there are going to be challenges, there are going to be ups and downs. And throughout the process in the last 18 months after opening too, he's been great about having regular calls with us and still being that reminder of when we say, oh, this is what we're dealing with, and he'll tell us, oh, that's a great problem to have. That means that this is happening, or, still kind of grounds us and reminds us that we're on a good path, even though sometimes it might feel like we're not so sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Things are going well. We tell ourselves things are going well all the time, and I think that part of it is a mindset. And then there's also the actual business side. Our business is growing. Our our team and our culture is getting stronger every day because of the things that partly what we learned in our coaching sessions, but also just being in business and learning it through the the grind. And yes, there have been some incredibly difficult days, weeks, months, but at the end of the day, it's similar to anything that you want in life. If you want it bad enough, then you're going to put in the time and figure out a way to make it work. And I believe that the work that we put in, we've got a great team and a great support system with our franchise coach and our franchise system. Those things make it so that we're very excited about our future.
I would say that probably the one moment that stands out the most is while we were going through the process and we were having our calls with Rick and we were having our calls with each of the different franchises that we were looking into. And then we were also having validation calls with owners of those franchises. And we were spending a lot of time in the process of the research and kind of figuring out maybe what direction we wanted to go. And one of the things that Rick said to me that I will never forget is we were feeling like this was a lot of time and energy. And Rick said, "This process is the easy part." And that really resonated with me. And I wanted to really remind myself that's true. And he was very right throughout starting the business and then running the business. Every once in a while, I think about that again. And I just laughed to myself because he was very right. So for me, there were a lot of benefits, but one thing that Rick always did was kind of pull us out of the depth of it and really bring us back to, just bring us back to reality a little bit and kind of ground us is how I would say it. Rick really grounded us throughout the whole process of reminding us, just the things that we really needed to know and be aware of.
For me, the most valuable part was just the constant reminder of, okay, the reason and the value of, for example, a franchise system is for the processes and for the relationships. And while, yes, you're new coming into this and you're buying into a franchise, there's still a lot of hard work that you have to do. And you have to continuously understand and kind of reset your mind for, similar to what Cass was saying, that this is the easy part. The more difficult part is, and it really is preparing us to try to get into the right frame of mind so that we would, have a call a couple of years later and be able to look back on it and say, oh yeah, we talked about that. And so I think it was mostly around the setting the proper expectations, because when you speak to the actual franchise ownership structure, they're still trying to, it's this mutual relationship where they want you to become a franchisee, and so maybe the some of the things that they say, you have to take it through the lens of a little bit of scrutiny, which is, it's still going to be difficult, and I think we were prepared for that going in.
Mm-hmm. If you are listening to this and going through the process, the validation process of looking into franchising, the process you're in is the easy part.
Yeah, I would say that if, and this is something you probably already heard from Coach, but remember that franchising is, and some franchises are going to be different in their experience levels and how long they've been around and the systems that they offer. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for running your own business, and that should excite you. And I would say that it's it's not a bad thing if you decide to move forward and the next 6, 12, 18 months are some of the most difficult in terms of your professional career, because that could very well mean that you are putting in the required effort to build what you started with in mind. So just consider that, and that's the advice that I have